hobby ideas. I'm here to share some DIY craft ideas for this Christmas season.
We're going to decorate the candle for this Christmas season, and to decorate the candle I'm going to use paper and artistry inks. These inks work fantastic on the paper and the papery surfaces. It gives different background effects for your cards and scrapbook projects, and they come in variety of colors. These colors react to water or mixes with water in different ways and gives different patterns or textures for your cards and scrapbooks. So let's use these inks to decorate the candle that we have here. And I've taken a paper which is about 200 GSM thick. Because we are using a lot of water in the project, it's good to take a thick paper, otherwise a thin paper may crumple. But that does not stop you using it on the thin papers. You can also use it on the thin papers where you get some wonderful effects as well. And I'm going to color this paper using artistry inks. I'm going to measure and cut the strips which are about 1 inch thick. So I'm going to make a mark here at 1 inch and one more here. So if I may need 2 or 3, and I'm making these 3 marks here, and I'm going to draw the line here. So I have drawn these strips which are 1 inch thick, and I'm going to cut them now with scissors. I can also cut them using sharp paper cutter. Likewise, you can cut these too, and I have 2 already cut and ready with me. First, apply a liberal layer of water. You should see a coat of water on the paper, because if there is water, only then the inks will spread the way you would want to. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this blaze color artistry ink. It's a shade of red, and I'm going to dab the stamp on the paper. I'm going to dab it in the center, and you can see how magically the ink spreads. And I want to do a border which is green. And the green on the other side as well. These stamp pads also come in a packaging which is so convenient to use, because when you open it, it sits like this, and then when you want to close it, you close it properly with a lid so the inks don't dry. We also have a place here where you can keep your foam pads. There is this technique called as blending technique, and for blending technique you need blending foams. So you can keep those foams here and use individual foams for individual colors, so the color effect does not get mixed when you use it on the paper. So this is how it looks, and I have more strips which are ready. So what I had done was I used red in the center and green on the side. So this is one strip that we just did. Similarly, I just used red for one border and green for one border. And instead of using red in the center here, I have used green in the center and red on the edges. So you can see these 3 strips with this beautiful blending effect, very abstract way of blending colors that you can see here. So this is a tie and dye effect, a kind of tie and dye effect that you can achieve on paper using these artistry inks. I'm going to wrap these strips around the candle that I have here, and we're going to see how it looks. So let's measure the circumference of the candle. take it tightly closer and take about a centimeter extra paper so we can overlap the strip for sticking. Let's cut this straight. We will measure these strips as well as per the size that we have. Let's stick these strips using Fevicol MR. Apply a layer of Fevicol on the area which measures about 1 centimeter because we've taken that 1 centimeter extra on the paper. Roll it around. When you roll it around, take this end really tight, hold on to it and then press this end on this and hold it for few seconds. Don't let it loosen, take it tightly, and here we finish. So here is the sticking, which is nice, even. We stick this one now on top of this. So I again spread little Fevicol MR, edge of the strip, spread it, stick it on this. Try and take the joint at the same point where you've joined it first, and here we go. The third one that I have, I'm going to stick this here. Let's take the red border down so you have green and red border coming alternately. You can add a fourth layer to this, and as the candle burns, just in case if you want to remove these layers, you can remove these rings one by one. What I'm going to do is further decorate it with a stamp, and I have this wooden stamp which is used for block prints. I'm going to use that stamp on the paper. Let's cut little paper from here. And this is the floral stamp that I am going to use. When I'm applying water on this, I want the paper to be damp but not very wet, because I don't want the color to spread so much as was spread here. So a slight spread will happen if the paper is damp and not too wet. So let's spread all this water around, or you can wet it nicely, then leave it to dry for a few seconds and then stamp on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use red artistry ink for the flower, and I'm going to use green artistry ink for the leaf. Press the stamp on the ink pad for the red and green here, and I'm going to press it here. And this is what I get. Every flower I need to stamp, I need to freshly take the color on the block or a stamp, so I get brightness of the colors. And here we go. I thought since we are doing a tie and dye effect, which is a very traditional crafts of India, I also that let us use a block print to give it more ethnic look. I am leaving a gap of about 1 mm. The paper dries up very quickly, you don't really need to wait long for it to dry. These stamped motifs like this on the strip. So let's put Fevicol MR here on the lower side. And along with this, I'm also going to use a red ribbon
to tie a nice bow here in the center or at the joint. Let your bow come in the front. Yes, and here we have a beautifully decorated candle that can be placed on a dining table for a candlelit dinner. For more craft ideas, visit us at www.hobbyideas.in.